Have you ever gone blank when you are asked to present your dashboard or a report to the stakeholders, even though you are the one who developed the whole thing? If so, in this video, I will be talking about a few techniques that will make you look like a pro. But first, let's understand why this happens in the first place. Because once you understand the root cause, the solution becomes obvious. It happens because you are not sure what to say in what order. All the details look equally important and nothing jumps out. When the brain is presented with too much equally weighted information at once, it freezes. Know that it is not a confidence problem, rather it is an information architecture problem. So let's solve this. There are many techniques, but we're going to talk about two main ones. The first one is called bottom up. In the bottom up technique, you start with the end result, the insight, and then you work your way backwards to explain how you got there. This is actually very similar to what McKinsey consultants use. They call it so what framework. Basically, lead with insight that matters, then back it up with evidence. This especially works with the busy stakeholders. They want to know the conclusion first and then reasoning second. Let's say based on your analysis, you saw that the sales of a particular product have gone up. Then in order to explain why, you go one step above to find the precursor, because there was a campaign running at the time which boosted this product's sales. Then go one step further up and mention the why behind the campaign. So if I were to summarize this in an example, it would sound something like this. We noticed an increase in sales for pink Nike shoes in the month of August, which was a direct result of us running a campaign targeting young girls. As you can see, our sales were not doing well for these shoes based on historical data, and this campaign helped quite a bit. So you started with the result, explained the cause, and backed it up with data. The stakeholders barely had to think, right? Now the second technique is exactly the opposite. It's called top down. You start with big picture, the context, the background, the why behind it, and then you drill down into the details. This works especially when your audience does not have much context about the topic. You are essentially building a mental map for them before you show them the data. Think of it like giving a map to someone before you ask them to navigate through the city. And if you are ever not sure which one to use, just follow a chronological order of events in one direction. It is the safest fallback plan and the easiest for any audience to follow naturally. Now, both of these approaches work well for static reports, maybe a PowerPoint presentation in a quarterly meeting where the content is fixed and you control the narrative from start to finish. But this framework may not work for dashboards. So, how do you present a dashboard? Because unlike a report, dashboard is ever changing. You cannot anchor yourself to one event and go in that order. The data updates often, and if you change the filter, the story shifts. And this is where most analysts make the biggest mistake. They treat dashboards like reports. They go chart by chart, saying things like this chart shows sales in finance, this shows revenue by region, and you find the stakeholders sitting there completely lost. Dashboards are not designed to give static insights. Dashboards are not the story. They are the environment where the stories live. They are self-serving and exploratory tools. So the way you present them needs to be completely different. In my opinion, dashboard should be presented as a product demo, not a quarterly report. Think about how a product manager demos a product. They do not just list features. They walk you through a journey. Here's the problem we were solving. Here's how the product solves it. And here is where you find what you need. That is exactly how you should present a dashboard. So here is how you start. If you like to learn more about data analytics and psychology behind data, then consider subscribing. You should always start with some background about the original ask, like why was this dashboard built? What data did we use and why? How did we decide on these metrics? And why did we think these metrics would be useful? This is called framing. It is a fundamental principle of effective data storytelling. And that is why we remember so many childhood stories. Research shows that audiences retain information significantly better when they are given context before details. So you are essentially priming their brain to receive the information in the right way. Then once you have set the stage, go through each visual one by one and explain how it helps business, not what the chart is, but what it does for them and how other functionalities are useful, such as set of filters or buttons you may have put in your dashboard, or any restrictions to certain user groups. Basically, if they need a particular piece of information, show them exactly where they can find it and how to interact with it. Now, here's the part most people skip entirely, and it is the most important. Dashboards are the trickiest deliverables in the data analytics because they are self-serving tools. Once you hand them over, you are no longer in the room. The stakeholder is navigating it alone and drawing their conclusions. And if the dashboard is not designed carefully, wrong insight can be taken from it, leading to a wrong business decisions. This is why every dashboard should be following some basic principles. Things like clear labeling, consistent color usage, avoiding chart junk, and making sure the most important metric is the first thing the eye lands on. And Edward Tuft has a whole book written on this. And this is exactly what the next video is about. I'm going to walk you through how to apply these design principles so you can create a dashboard that not only looks great, but tells the right story every single time. Hey, did I mention data storytelling? We just launched a newsletter which does exactly the same. So if you like to see how data storytelling is done in real life, check my newsletter out.